Everyone knows that Sony has a live event scheduled for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Sony's expected to announce the A1 II and the 28-70, and Sigma's going to be making an announcement at midnight for more Canon RF lenses. We've got the exact specs and details of everything to be announced. But before we get to the details, please subscribe to this channel. It doesn't cost you anything, helps this channel grow, and keeps you up to date on the latest camera coverage. Sony teased us last week about an event to be taking place on November the 19th at 9 a.m. in the morning. And Andrea Pizzini's been teasing us for weeks with specifications for the A1 II and the 28-70, along with several photos. Well, I can now confirm without a doubt the specifications for the Sony A1 II to be announced tomorrow, along with the 28-70. And I've also got some specifications for the Sigma lenses to be announced tonight at midnight. So jumping right to the Sony A1 II. A lot of people think this is a minor update over the Mark I, and looking at the specs on paper, that appears to be the case, but I'm getting a sense that we're going to see some dramatic improvements to the autofocus system. So first of all, the sensor. It's going to get a 50 megapixel full frame stacked sensor. No surprises there, Andrea Pizzini had said that. But the autofocus system, it's going to have this new AI tracking, and it's going to have human pose estimation. I'm not exactly what human pose estimation really means. Perhaps the camera's going to be able to estimate a model posing. It's not going to do anything with the information, but it's going to say, hey, the model's over there about 2.3 meters or about 7 feet. And yeah, I've got the eyes locked on, but I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just I can estimate the distance. What I think is going on here is we don't always get the true meaning of what's involved, but my impressions of the improvements to the A1 II is very similar to what we've seen with the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. The Canon EOS R5 Mark II, along with the R1, got significant improvements to the autofocus system, thanks in part to a new Digic Accelerator AI processing chip, much like the Sony in the A1. And the chip in the Sony A1 II is getting an update. So think about this. Most of the specifications for the A1 II aren't that different from the A1. So where can we expect to see the main differences? Well, it's like looking at the R5 Mark I and the R5 Mark II. To many, the specs really aren't that different. But if you're shooting and autofocus is important to you, you're shooting with subjects and objects that are in a crowded area or where things are moving in and out of the frame, or you're shooting sports, soccer, football, and stuff like that, and it's very important to track the subject, and it can be very difficult, especially when you're shooting basketball. I think that's where we're going to see the A1 II shine. Again, I'm just going with my forecast, where I think this is going, because if Sony doesn't dramatically improve the autofocus system, again, we're not talking speed, but to capabilities, then I think they're going to have trouble moving this. But that's what I think they've been working on for the last 4 years. Now, in terms of video specifications, again, Andrea Pizzini got it correct. 8K up to 30 frames per second. No 8K 60 like the Nikon Z9 or the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. Hold on, let me check something here because maybe more information is coming through. No, that's just Uber offering me a discount. All right, let me just, no. Yep, okay. Things are happening pretty quickly right now. So in terms of 4K, can do 4K up to 120 frames per second. Not really surprising since that's now a feature we see in cameras as low as $2,000. It can do it 10-bit, but we don't know if it's going to do 10-bit 422. That would be my assumption, especially at a camera that costs north of $6,200. In terms of continuous shooting with autofocus and auto exposure, 30 frames per second. No details on what type of RAW, what the bit rate is of the RAW. But now for the EVF and the LCD. The EVF, 9.44 million dots, matched only by the Canon EOS R1. And the LCD, obviously it's going to be a touch screen, and it's going to have 4-axis, not 5-axis. Now, in terms of CF Express cards, CF Express Type A, dual card slots, but it doesn't say here, what does it say? Let me just see if there's any other information around it. No, it doesn't mention if it is CF Express 4.0 PCIe Gen 4. Andrea Pizzini had previously said that it does have it. Then in a later post, he said he hasn't 100% confirmed that. This specification doesn't confirm or deny So we'll just have to wait a little longer. Let me go back to the EVF. I forgot to mention something. So one thing the EVF can do is a frame rate of up to 240 frames per second, and IBIS has improved from 5.5 to 8.5 stops. 8.5 stops, and that's the leaked specifications for the Sony A1 II. Now pricing, based on what we're seeing on European pricing leaked by Andrea Pizzini, I'm predicting a US price of between $62.99 and $63.99, and I'm putting my big bets on $63.49. What do you think the price is going to be? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, what we're seeing in Europe is the Sony A1 II is 50 euros more than the Canon EOS R1. So that should help give us an idea. Now, the other thing we're getting announced at the event tomorrow morning. Sorry, I got so many things going on in my head here, so many things popping up, but it's the lens. It's the Sony FE 28-70mm f2.GM. And I do have a few more specifications than Andrea Pizzini provided. And again, these are all confirmed. So allegedly confirmed. So let's go ahead and go through them. I'm going to go through them rather quickly because, well, you've seen most of these, so it's going to be a little boring. And then I'll get to the final announcement and some more pricing. It's designed for full frame cameras like the A1 II with f-stops up to f22. Ultra fast standard zoom. 4 XD linear autofocus motors with a floating focus and a minimum focus distance of 1.2 throughout the entire zoom range. It has an aperture declick and lock switches, zoom smoothness switch, XA and Super ED elements, and as far as coatings goes, it has the Nano AR coating and the fluorine coating. It has an 11 blade diagram, and you really shouldn't be surprised that it has, well, dust and moisture resistance, because obviously at a price of around $29.99, it's not cheap. It had better be built right. All right, and to cover this event, 1 hour before the live stream, or 1 hour before Sony's event, I'm doing a live stream with live coverage from my expert panel where we're going to talk about the latest leaked specifications and what we would do if we were Sony, where we think this camera is going to shine and how it holds up against the Canon EOS R1, the Nikon Z9, and is Sony not paying attention to the Nikon Z8 and the Canon EOS R5? But now let's turn our attention. Oh, one other thing too, you might notice that I've had the smart pre-order links down below for the better part of this video. Why is that? Well, to be honest with you, they help keep the lights on. It's what keeps this channel going. And unfortunately, Sony is going to make us wait 24 hours after the announcement before we can pre-order, at least in North America. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Here's all our new stuff. Here's our new camera, our new lens. Are you excited? Well, you can't buy it. Why? Well, we don't know why. We're just going to make you wait 24 hours. It's a little bit silly, but if you can copy down my link and use that tomorrow morning, I guess this would be, yeah, tomorrow morning, because I'm recording this tonight, but please use this. It really does help the channel grow. I can make anywhere from 2 to 5% back, and a big thanks to everybody that has used my links in the past. But now I want to turn my attention to a Canon announcement that's going to take place tonight at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Do you remember back in April when Sigma announced 5 lenses? Well, that was a development announcement. The announcement tonight is for the remaining 4 lenses, the 16, the 35, 56, and 23. All primes. You'll be able to pre-order them. They'll start shipping. All 5 lenses will have, and again, this is based on a video I put out earlier. I told you by January 2025, all 5 lenses will have shipped. So we don't know what the shipping date is, but you'll be able to pre-order them tonight at midnight, the 23, 30, 56, and 16mm primes. We don't have the pricing on those lenses. This time around, I wasn't able to get any pricing. A little bit sad, but at least we have the specifications. I'm pretty excited. We got 2 announcements. We got one tonight from Sigma. I'm really expecting Sigma to start announcing more APS-C lenses, and who knows, maybe even full frame lenses come CP Plus at the end of February 2025. But this could potentially be our last announcement of the year, and that's the Sony announcement for the A1 II and the 28-70 f2.GM lens. I'm pretty excited, so please join me tomorrow morning. One thing you should be aware of though, if you find $6,300 a little bit too expensive for the A1 II, consider some of the Sony sales on now. The A7S III is $3,198 at $300 off. The A7 IV, $2,098, $400 off. $100 more than the Canon R6 Mark II. And the A7R5, well, it's $500 off at $33.98. And again, if you could do me a favor, if you're interested in purchasing any of these cameras, and I have about another 20 or 30 down below for Canon and Nikon as well, then please use my affiliate links, because it really does help keep this channel going. It keeps the lights on. And every time I get ready to do a new video or do a new live stream, I'm excited by what I get to see. And knowing that I'm able to cover the cost of new cameras like the R5 Mark II, a new lighting, new storage, I couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. for what could be our last announcement of the year. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great night, and we'll see you again soon.